Yeah, I definitely think those stats are a bit off. I think BeoMulf's micro. I think Zest and BeoMulf have similar micro. I would say they're the same. I wouldn't say Zest has better micro than BeoMulf, because that is BeoMulf's strong suit. I believe his offense, his ability to attack, and his micro are what makes him special. And yeah, I mean, I've also kind of heard BeoMulf. I haven't talked with him, but I've heard, people saying and how he says that, at the GSL studio, he's for some reason is having the wrist issues, and that could be a variety of things. It could be the chairs that they have. It could be like just the setup with how the angle. That stuff matters when you have like something like that where, you have had that problem in the past. Small things like that can cause it to be an issue. But at home, he is. We've seen he is a much stronger monster, as we saw in King of Battles. Where he came out and won that event. He is still in tip-top form. So we see the eBay block here. It's not going to actually delay the Nexus too much because Zest just pulls 4 workers, but that's also 4 workers off the line, which is just a nice little victory here for BeoMulf.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, did you see the electroshock images that we saw from BeoMulf from getting treatment the other day?
No, I didn't.
So I guess Shopify is actually like having BeoMulf do treatments for this, but they did like this electroshock and acupuncture thing on his arms, right? So they stuck needles in his arms and they attached electrodes to it. So it was like TENS electroshock, muscular therapy, but also acupuncture. And I'm like, oh, that does not does not look comfortable whatsoever. I mean, they weren't your normal electroshock needles either. They looked a little bit, or your normal like really thin acupuncture needles that you're not supposed to really feel. They looked a decent bit thicker. And I'm like, oh god. I mean, yeah, you're an athlete. You do what you got to do to make yourself be able to perform at the highest of levels, or at the very least, you're competitor here. Even if I don't know, you see people try to classify. Ooh, Widowmine's fast. Off of a even before the Stargate's out or the Starport's getting started. That's interesting. Some people try to classify esports players as athletes. I'm like, I'm not sure I buy that one. Even as I sit here casting esports, but certainly they are competitors. Certainly they are professionals, and at that point, I mean, this is your job. I mean, you do whatever you got to do to make sure that you can compete and you can keep doing your job.
Yeah.
What is this here from BeoMulf?
This is interesting. I don't really know. I mean, I suppose it's to try and deny any early pressure coming out from his opponent. And
yeah, that's exactly what this is. This is a counter build to the parting build that has been so popular in this matchup. Yeah, so that's what it is. We've started, BeoMulf in particular has started building his command center on the high ground just to make sure that he doesn't die to the parting build. But as a result, I mean, actually his command center is not even going to get blocked. Not really, because the Marines and the Hellions are going to be here, and by the time the command center rolls on over, well, not a lot is going to happen. Now, we have 2 Hellions on the map, and it's going to be 4 Widowmines by the time this medevac's out, so I guess it's going to be Hellions diving on into the main as a quad Widowmine drop tries to find some, or Hellions into the naturals, Widowmines try to find their way on into the main base, but I mean, this is a Phoenix opener, and I really like Phoenix openers against every single early aggressive tier. Well, I've seen some 5 racks builds, like it's 5 barracks except for 1 base SCV pull, and I don't like a starport opening off that, but everything else, I pretty much do like the starport opening there, Stargate opening there. Yeah, Terran.
This is a bit interesting though. BeoMulf just going straight on in, but yeah, there's already 4 Phoenix out, so not even gonna get any of them down. But actually, this is just a depth, so yeah. Here come the rest of the Hellions try and get some damage, and the Phoenix can't actually kill the Widowmines. They are going to barrow eventually. 5 workers get killed, 7. And hey, that's some decent damage, actually, for BeoMulf. He was behind the worker count, but that catches him back up, and he managed to catch his Zest without any stalkers to get rid of the Widowmines. The Hellions come through, and sure, you lose, 4 Widowmines, 2 Hellions. It sucks to lose that, but to get that many worker kills, that is absolutely worth it.
No, if anything, this puts BeoMulf ahead here, right? So the math, of course, says, I'm sure you're aware as a Terran player, but if you're equal on workers before, like, full 3-4 base saturation there, you're actually in a really good spot there as the Terran, because mules are a powerful thing, and Chrono does mean that the Protoss should always be ahead of workers at that time. Now, we're going to have to see whether Zest is able to equalize here with these Phoenix, but the hidden Widowmine is going to take so much potential out of these Phoenix, because, well, 2 of them are now heavily injured. None of them have shields. and they will melt given the chance. Now, Zest here, he's going for this build that he's been playing a lot. It's the build that he played against Clem back in Katowice, and it's the build that he has really truly been popularizing. You talked about this a little bit, where he likes to kind of play this build that allows him to scrap, allows him to just throw a lot at his opponent. Well, he's going to do that here. Right, we will see charge after this. We're going to see a lot of gates, and it's going to go up to like 9-ish Phoenix, and of course, with charge on top of that, that is a very strong style against this idea that BeoMulf has of, I want to be aggressive, right? That is how BeoMulf plays like every matchup. Is, oh, one Phoenix is going to snap down. Very nice for BeoMulf. But again, this does not necessarily allow BeoMulf the room that he would normally like to be aggressive here. That being said, this is an interesting push out here from BeoMulf. Is the charge is not going to be done in time.
Yeah, no charge, and you can see right now Zest is getting himself some shield batteries. It's one Widowmine, a ton of Marines. That Marauder, and then the Viking as well. Of course, the Phoenix are going to get some damage, but there's actually Stim here, so the Widowmine being targeted down is, of course, good for Zest, but there's so much army supply, actually, for BeoMulf. This is just a massive force. He will eventually have to pull away as he sees more Zealots being warped in. But, I mean, he can still kite against this. This isn't like a force that is not microable. Of course, though, no Medivacs means that the Stim brings his units quite low, and now the chase down comes through, but still, BeoMulf, feeling like he's really in a good spot. He's not that far behind in the workers. He has his third base coming up now, 1-1, getting all of the upgrades. And as for Zest, it is going to be that mass gateway.
Yeah, this is one of BeoMulf's favorite ideas, one of BeoMulf's favorite techniques in the matchup, where this is actually a really interesting way to do it. This is not normally how he gets there, but he's a big fan of like these early, again, we talk about kitchen sink, one of these early kitchen sink type move outs where you have Stim and you move across the map with like 15 Marines and a Viking and a Medevac or whatever you want. Viking and a Widowmine maybe. And you try to get some damage done. Oh, look at that Widowmine. Really good job. BeoMulf has been getting so much damage done with these random Widowmine positions. That being said, though, Zest is setting up a really big Zealot flank. So as we do see BeoMulf trying to move on in here, well, a couple of these Widowmines look like they will most likely get lifted. Oh, okay, never mind. That's not a flank there from Zest, or that is just well, that's a run by.
Yeah, I mean, Zest has, or BeoMulf had double the army supply of Zest at that point. Zest can't really afford to fight it head on. So he brings the Zealots to try and go into the main. He's using these force fields to try and delay. He managed to just barely cancel the building on that CC before it finishes, and BeoMulf has to scrap the natural base for now, has to bring in his reinforcements, but he can still try and push in 2 Archons and a whole bunch of sentries. Immediately the shield battery overcharge is popped, and here comes the engagement on the other side. SCV's being pulled, so a lot are going to go down, but BeoMulf, he's just trying to win the game here. He's killed the Archons. He's managed to get rid of a lot of the Phoenix, and there's still so much bio for him. And this is a very microable force.
Oh,
More
that Widowmine shot, though. Oh, he did.
The drag.
Oh, man, Zest did such a good job there with the Widowmines, dragging them on top of the army. And you just heard all of the Terran bio die at once. Now, BeoMulf, he is able to deal with the Zealots now. He did not lose his third base, by the way, which was burning, as it was like 99% complete. So it looks like BeoMulf will be able to complete that now. Finally. But Zest has bought himself some time. Now he has himself a 14 army supply lead, or a 14 worker lead. And yes, he's down in army supply, but he does still have a shield battery. And this army that he has built is designed to fight at a supply deficit against the Terran army.
Yeah, there's always, of course, the micro potential of BeoMulf. He has 1-1. He has the armor upgrades as well, so he will be able to trade a lot better against these Zealots. And he still has that army supply lead. It's now back up to 30 as he's rallying across the map. He's rebuilding his SCVs into the natural. Getting a Ghost Academy, and mind you, he'll be able to put down that third base pretty soon. That's a wonderful force field onto a large chunk of Marauders, but still, the army is trading decently well. Zest is catching up, though, as he's starting to get through that bank. He had a Zest bank for a while there, around 900 minerals that were banked up, but he spends it through. BeoMulf's going to take the third. He's going to pull back, and he's going to probably, I mean, the next push here is going to be with Ghosts. It's going to be Widowmines, Ghosts, and a whole lot of bio.
Yeah, many ways to make these Zealots about half as impactful as they normally would be, as we have a couple Archons on the way as well. But Zest, I mean, notice here in this matchup, he always has a pack of Zealots on the map. He says, look, okay, I know you're committing really hard to this, BeoMulf. That means you don't have a lot at home most of the time, so I'm just going to sit my Zealots. Once I realize your army's across the map, well, I'm going to try to run you by, and I know you don't have a wall. I know you didn't have last time, unless you built a wall between now and then, which most likely you didn't. I know you don't have a wall. So Zest now, he's going to take his 4th base around the same time that BeoMulf is taking his 3rd. As BeoMulf rather heavily supply blocked for the moment, as he did lose that outlying supply depot. So there we go, 4 supply depots are on the way. And this actually very much gives Zest time to really equalize the army supply at this point. As now it's only 10 behind, another warp-in round that should make it just about equal. And BeoMulf, while he did get an armory, his 2-2's not on the way. So we will have asynchronous upgrade parity here. Zest, he's going to have his +2. He's going to have +2 attack. BeoMulf's going to be on 1-1. So it's 6 one way, half dozen the other. That being said, BeoMulf's upgrades, he effectively has like a +1.5 here because of course, the EMPs that will be able to knock down most of the shields here of this Charizard Immortal Archon army. And well, when you're able to do that, yeah, your army just fights a little bit stronger.
I mean, there's so many factors in this upcoming fight. You have the EMPs. BeoMulf's army will just trade better. You know, the EMPs, the large Marauder count, it just means that he will shred through those Zealots. But he's trying to get his surround set up. And mind you, there's no Widow Mines with this army. Immediately the shields on the Archons are gotten rid of. But here comes the flank. Widow Mines need to burrow to try and deal with this as it's all picked up. Widow Mines not going to get off their shots. BeoMulf has to retreat and tuck tail and get home as he's trying to unload now. The Phoenix chasing it down. He's going to reinforce, but this is a massive force of Zealots coming out from Zest. Says he can't push it. He's going to pull back and doesn't attack that building 4th base, but he is going to try and come back in for it. As you know, from BeoMulf, I would love to see him mix in more Ghosts than he has right now. He has the gas for it, and I feel like he has a lot of Marauders, but he needs more Ghosts to just get that DPS for his army. As force field's coming down, not going to be able to actually sanction off the army and traps a lot of the Zealots.
Yeah, those force fields are really good for BeoMulf. Jeez, man,
those
Zest.
are terrible.
Zest now, he's got a 30 army supply deficit. BeoMulf's going to stim on top of this here. The Immortals getting targeted down. The Archons are going down. The entire army of Zest is now dying. And GG, Zest. Those force fields look like they were cast by BeoMulf. In the bottom, in the upper right, in the blue for Shopify Rebellion, he is BeoMulf.
And the bottom left in the red for DBG, his name is Zest.
Is he best?
No, Zest has been bested. Actually,
he has been
in game 1.
But I will say,
we have player cams.
Hey. And BeoMulf, actually, we don't even have the static player cam of last year, right? You remember the TSL BeoMulf static player cam that they have the eyes blinking on occasion, which was quite honestly just objectively terrifying.
Yeah, it was so creepy, but no, BeoMulf's here. Yeah, I mean, I like this. Zest's not rocking the orange hoodie this time, actually. Decides to go for a gray one. I'm going to be honest, I missed the all-orange outfit from Katowice. I think that was... it was a style choice. I think it was very bold, like his play style.
Yeah, was that when he was playing for Raise Your Edge? It may have been.
I think, wasn't he teamless at that point?
I don't... let me take a look, actually.
Because, I think for Katowice, he was teamless. I think DBG only picked him up afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not sure. If you Google Katowice, by the way, in Team Liquid, all it shows is Katowice after party as the drop down.
But yeah, I mean, I was surprised when Raise Your Edge did drop Zest. But
Raise Your Edge dropped their team.
Yeah.
On March. But yeah, no, Katowice, Zest was still a member of Raise Your Edge Gaming.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it meant that DPG could come in and, hey, under that, Zest has been doing extremely well. And also similarly, I think I was pleasantly surprised to see BeoMulf finally on a team when Shopify Rebellion picked him up, because BeoMulf has, historically been teamless. He's always he's gone solo, played by himself, but teamed up with Shopify here, got onto a team, and I mean, I think it's doing him good.
I shouldn't be too surprised, right? So when did BeoMulf win his GSL? That was
2014, 2016?
Yeah. So actually, immediately after he won his GSL, no, okay, so right before he was on the GSL, right before he won the GSL, he was a member of X Team. Then he left, and then he won his GSL. Or actually, I think immediately afterwards, X Team. He left X Team May 25th, and then he won his GSL. Okay, he won his GSL in October. In September. Sorry, in September. So there was that. But also, pretty much immediately afterwards, he was picked up by Team Expert, which was, of course, the follow-on from Acer. That was the team that was Bly and Scarlet and BYUN Innovation. Like, this was the follow-on of the former Axiom Acer team. So, and then they were the Talens Lions as well. They were a bunch of different teams. So he was picked up by them. So it actually, you know, it makes a lot of sense now that Scarlet and BeoMulf are on the same team once again. Because, well, yeah, that just makes sense.
it just works.
Riveting content here. Riveting analysis.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much going on in the game. We see double Oracle opening here from ZEST. There's actually not a lot of Marines. BeoMulf went for a double Marauder opening, which doesn't lend itself well to defending against Oracles. As good as it is against Stalkers.
This is actually a really big problem here. So we've seen ZEST do this a little bit more often, right? You go for that double Marauder build, and you get concussive shells, and you move out on the map with it. But I mean, Marines are only coming out one at a time. I guess now 3 at a time. But all the Marines just died. 4 SCVs have died, and this is putting ZEST in a really, really good spot. Now, he's going for a 3rd Oracle. You know what? I like this, right? So it's only 3 Marines at a time here, and we're going to have double Pulsar. Okay, now with the Widowmines, this is a little bit scarier, but no, he canceled that. Okay, it's just going to be 2 Oracles. Nope, never mind. That's a 3rd Oracle. Okay. Huh. I mean, of course, 3 Oracles will beat 7 Marines, but not with the Widowmines here.
The Widowmines aren't with the army, though. I think they were put into the mineral lines to help defend the workers. Yeah, ZEST can just one-shot workers with 3 Oracles. Doesn't need to wait that extra second to get the second tick of the damage. But actually, we do have the 2 Widowmines out on the map. So, BeoMulf being a bit more aggressive here, deciding, hey, you know what? I don't need to keep these home. I can defend just fine. He's only lost, I think, 6 or so workers, which is a decent amount, but it's not game-ending damage. And there's only 1 Phoenix out on the map, so that won't be able to stop both Widowmines, as they also are cloaked. But there's a revelation.
No, they're not, because Oracles are a thing. But actually, that's good. Oh, never mind. He's gonna drag it on top of the Oracles, and the second shot's gonna go off too. He's gonna get a sentry. Yes, no workers died there, but actually, what a trade there for BeoMulf, as now he's moving out on the map, and Oracle running out of one of them. I think one of the Oracles did go down. A second one's gonna go down now as well. A sentry has died. Maybe BeoMulf can get something done with this.
Yeah, I always forget that the Oracle Revelation was reworked and is now a lot more accessible. Because sometimes I see the Widowmine drops, and I'm like, oh, they have Cloak, and I'm like, oh wait, Revelation is only like 50 energy, so they're almost always going to have that available. But yeah, this is a little push from BeoMulf. I don't know if I like this though, because unlike last game, he does not have the massive army supply lead that he did before when he's making this push. ZEST has been very, very cautious about building too many probes, and you know, he's only just now adding on more as he's getting up that 3rd base, but he's been very good about keeping on that unit production so that that push doesn't do as much damage.
However, you know, in all honesty, BeoMulf, this is really good for him, right? He's only, well, at the moment, he was only down 4 workers, now he's down 7. But because ZEST did cut probes to make sure he didn't die to this, that's already implicit damage, right? Yes, BeoMulf was not able to stim on in and kill like 20 workers in the game, as we occasionally see happen, but he's going to be able to get his 3rd base up. It's not quite the timing that he would want, but still, the timing here that he's going to look to hit with +1 stim combat shields, we're not even there yet, right? So this is just BeoMulf getting a little bit aggressive earlier on, and he will keep finding this army. That is a lot of... How many Phoenix do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4... What is that, 7 Phoenix right now?
Yeah, 7, I believe.
8,
yeah.
Actually. I think that's 8, actually. Anyway, that does mean this Widowmine will get scouted out, will get targeted down. And good eyes there from ZEST. Because remember how much damage BeoMulf got done with his Widowmines in the middle of the map in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's why ZEST couldn't snowball the Phoenix advantage and that lead that he got from them. It was just because so many were so low, they got so damaged that during the fights, they were very easily picked off. So ZEST being careful about that. He's got his 3rd base up. He's going to be going into the Templar once again, getting up that ground pound army force that he likes to go for. And as for BeoMulf, has finished the 3rd base, is going to start moving that onto location. These constant tags, I mean, ZEST is just being so annoying. He's making sure that BeoMulf just can't move out. It's absolutely impossible for him to without ZEST knowing about it, as he picks up 3 worker kills. And it's just still just being a nuisance with this Air Force.
Now, I do like what BeoMulf is doing here, right? He's not moving out. He just says, okay, look, I know what you're doing. I know what the style is. I'm just going to take my third base. And while, yes, is it suboptimal to get a third base at 6 minutes and 30 seconds and then not attacked with it? The point being is that with this, that's what ZEST wants you to do, right? ZEST wants you to attack on out and to get swallowed up whole by the Phoenix charge lot style is, ooh, one medevac will go down. And as I say that, as I'm praising BeoMulf for his restraint, he's going to move out on the map and try to make something happen. Now, he does have a 20 army supply lead, but we talked about this earlier. The army supply, like, this army that ZEST has is designed to win army supply deficient fights at a certain point. Once the Terran gets like to 175 supply, maybe it's not quite as useful. Once the Terran gets into 1-1, maybe not quite as effective. But in the position that we are in right now, this is actually rather good. This is what ZEST's army was designed to be. That being said, a good portion of ZEST's army is on the other side of the map. This is a big Zealot run by on in here. So that makes this hold here from ZEST a little bit more tricky. Now, of course, with the lifts here, it does mean these Widow Mines are not going to be all that useful. The Shield Battery Overcharge is going to get popped as well. But, I mean, ZEST, I don't know how much I like this from him.
Yeah, I mean, once again, you know, the force fields weren't the best, and BeoMulf can start to trade out here. Only 6 workers got killed, but the Zealots are now actually pushing into the main, I believe, and having to trade out there, so they're going to get a lot more 12 workers going down before eventually those are going to be cleaned up. The backstab is good, but it's not... I don't think it's as much damage as ZEST wanted. BeoMulf still traded out with the rest of the army. He still has that army supply lead. But the good news for ZEST is he didn't lose any of his Archons.
Yeah, here's the thing also, as you mentioned, Archons, none of the Immortals died. None of the tech here, really, for ZEST was traded on out. Yeah, I think he lost a couple of Phoenix, which I guess technically is tech, but it's not that bad. Because, again, you kind of expect to lose Phoenix. Phoenix, you're not going to be continuously building them over the course of this game. They're to allow you to get on into this position that, well, yeah, ZEST is in now. Now, ZEST will lose this 4th base. He's not going to be allowed to keep this base. But really the question is whether BeoMulf will actually be able to breach this high ground. Now, of course, with this continuous tag, these Widow Mines are not all that useful. And actually, no, he's going to lose a couple of probes that are going to move on in. And, well, we're going to have the Phoenix dive on top of everything here. All the Widow Mines are going to get lifted. That does mean, however, that the Phoenix are not fighting these medevacs. And there is some healing, but it does look like ZEST has enough here to make this fight happen. He will be able to take the fight here. And BeoMulf's going to be forced back. Once again, a similar position from game number 1. But this time, I don't think we're going to see those misguided force fields because we don't have any energy for force fields.
Yeah, there's no chance of a misstep as ZEST will have to pull back. The kite was really good from BeoMulf and will actually manage to catch an Archon there. But again, these Widow Mines just not getting any value. These Phoenix, the control on them so good. Another Archon actually goes down though. The focus fire from BeoMulf managing to get rid of those few key tech units. But now it is a larger army supply for ZEST. He's getting into Colossus and BeoMulf. Well, he doesn't really have a transition. He's sitting on 55 workers, but doesn't have a Ghost Academy. Only still has 1 starport. And really, I mean, for BeoMulf, he needs to trade out well, and he's managing to do so decently. Sorry, he does have a Ghost Academy. He's just started up the Enhanced Shockwave. But he needs to trade even better than that. He can't, you know, he lost a lot of bio during that fight, and that's just not really worth it in the long run.
Yeah, you're right. It's really not. Now, BeoMulf here, he still can take a good fight here. He does have Enhanced Shockwaves on the way, and I believe he's only on 1 eBay, though. So that does mean that he will eventually just fall behind in upgrades here. So we will probably see a second forge from ZEST sooner rather than later, as our bot is giving people the wrong bracket. So let's fix that one. But yeah, this is the point in the game that ZEST really wanted to get on into. That being said, we only have what, 2 Colossus on the map right now. Okay, so he's gonna go up to 3. That's when things get, you know, a little bit scary there for the Terran. 2 you can kind of deal with, but 3 though. 3 is when the damage gets really exponentially better. That being said, we have a War Prism on the way as well, so ZEST is going to look to get aggressive here on the map, maybe a little bit more. Get some drops off, maybe, but more importantly, this will allow him to reinforce as he looks to put the screws to the Terran player. Now, BeoMulf, of course, he will try to find these Phoenix. If he's able to knock the Phoenix down, that's going to be very nice for him. It will open up the map for him a little bit more, because right now, I mean, this really, the point of these Phoenix is the map control, right? It is so hard for BeoMulf to get any sort of drop on the map, and also, I don't believe BeoMulf actually killed that 4th base. I didn't think he was going to allow ZEST to keep it. I mean, you just kind of stim on top of that for half a second. It goes down, but he pulled off like 10 units, I think, to try to wear it down as he was taking the fight outside of ZEST's 3rd, getting a little bit greedy there. And with that being the case, the base was allowed to stay alive, which is certainly suboptimal there for our Terran player. Oh man, it's so hard to fight in these speed zones.
Yeah, the Ghost got picked off before they could get their EMPs off, and now the Stunner step back. There's so many Zealots. Just so much Protoss here for this army. The Colossus absolutely clearing everything up. There's +2 already done for ZEST. And BeoMulf, you can micro your heart out, but this army is just too strong. He was caught out on the map. ZEST